they had the announcements for the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, and so I am curious to get your reactions. Do you want me to fire these off, or do you want to kind of talk about one and get into their career and kind of go down the list, or should we just kind of fire away?
Give me if you don't mind running a list real quick, and then we'll kind of touch upon the ones that we have time for one by one.
Yeah.
Give me the
So,
highlights. Give me the bullet points first.
so here's the bullet points. So these are your inductees to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame for 2025. We have Carmelo Anthony is the headliner, followed by Dwight Howard. We have Sue Bird, Maya Moore, her teammate Sylvia Fowles. We have Coach Billy Donovan. I became acquaintance with his son this past season. We have referee Danny Crawford has made the Basketball Hall of Fame. And as the team to make it, it is the 2008 men's Olympic basketball team coined the Redeem Team that came in. It was Kobe, KG, and a whole bunch of others came in and saved us after I think we got silver or we lost in the third place game in 2004 or some sort of debacle that made us not be the dream team. We needed a team to bring us back, and that was the '08 Redeem Team. So, what are your thoughts, at least on these? I think kind of obviously Melo is the highlight, one of those that always the ring was elusive and he never quite got it, but he had a one and done season at Syracuse and won a national championship and is probably one of the most famous college basketball players for that season, and then ended up in the '03 draft with D Wade and LeBron and Darko. It took me a second to remember his name. But yeah, so and then obviously Dwight Howard kind of followed the same path as Shaq. It kind of had the Superman motif and everything as well, from Orlando to LA. Dominant big man, huge dunker. And yeah, and then we got the WNBA stars and Sue Bird, who I think she just retired this past season. I know Maya Moore led the Lynx to, I believe, 3 WNBA championships with teammate Sylvia Fowles. And obviously Billy Donovan went back to back at Florida. I can't give you any highlights for Danny Crawford. I'm sure he's teed up Draymond Green a few times, probably Ron Artest. Who knows? So yeah, now that I've rambled and kind of given you some time to think about each one or look up any stats, what are your thoughts on these inductees?
Well, I'm glad that Mel's making first ballot Hall of Fame here, and that and the timing of it is great for him. I feel like especially while he was still playing, there was this whole like forgot about Melo move that was going on, even when he could still play. I mean, I know that his skill set doesn't really match up well with the newer run and gun style, pace and space, if you will, style of the NBA. But I mean, he's as of now, and I think it's the season's certainly going to close this way. I mean, he's 10th all time on the NBA scoring list, and the dude was a bucket. The amount of times when he was playing for the Knicks that I saw him up against my Bulls, who were kind of in that fluctuation from being like the 500 Kirk Heinrich led team, Ben Gordon, those days before D Rose. The amount of times I saw him just hit clutch bucket after clutch bucket. And I think there was even one season in particular where it was like 20 games apart or so, where he hit game winners in both of those games. And yeah, I was never a guy who was necessarily watching Melo to root for him. A lot of times I felt like I was watching the team that he was doing something incredible against, and so he was actually breaking my heart more than anything else. But But yeah, I mean, it's a good memory of his individual performances either way.
I have
And
a question for you though. Uh, here's the big question that kind of looms over Melo. Does his number 15 get retired, or does Jokic's 15 get retired? Whose number goes in the rafters in Denver? Who's the better
I don't
15?
know. I don't know how they're going to do that one. I mean, we already know who the better 15 is. The guy who's won 4 MVP awards, 3 of them regular season, 1 of them finals, and perhaps counting still. So yeah, I mean, it would be it would be kind of strange for that ceremony to take place. Oh, oh, that's awkward. It's
Would
awkward, I will
would
say. I mean,
can Melo
is
be at
Melo's?
the ceremony?
That's what I was saying. I think he would end up getting invited.
He'd have to be there, yeah. He'd have to somebody would have to make sure that he approves it, that it goes up.
I think you nailed it. I think that there would be a conversation with Melo of like, hey, how do you want us to go about this? Can you retire 2 guys on the same number? Has that ever excuse me? Has
Yeah,
that
hit
ever
this
even been?
phone.
But I mean, yeah, if anything, the Knicks would probably be the team to retire his number. Somebody's got to do it. It can't be the Trailblazers. uh,
Thunder?
yeah, maybe. But yeah, all time career. Yeah, it's a shame the that that tandem with Iverson when he was buddying up with Iverson at those awesome Nuggets teams, who I think one of them even may have won 60 games one of those years. They couldn't make the big playoff push they were hoping for, but yeah, if you don't know much about Carmelo Anthony, watch Carmelo Anthony highlights and stand back and be amazed. I had to verify this. I feel like we've already done this trivia, but Dwight Howard, who you mentioned, all-time career dunks leader. It's just
Yeah, that
crazy
was
to me.
the stumper for you. You completely blocked him out of your mind.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me that he beat Shaq in that category. Especially, I mean, Shaq had a pretty lengthy career. Not that Dwight Howard didn't, but Shaq, I feel like as a starter had a very very lengthy career. So it's hard for me to think that anybody would have surpassed him. And
I feel like Shaq had more hook shots when he came out of college versus Dwight Howard just was straight dunking as much as he
maybe that's what
possibly
it
could.
is. Maybe that's what it is.
Shaq
He
at
just
least had
had
a
a
little bit of a shot. Like Dwight Howard did too, but I think Shaq used like his little baby hook a little bit more often and versus just trying to run over somebody like Dwight Howard would try to do. Or he tried to put you on Sports Center. He wanted to put you on a poster. And that was kind of his MO, at least those first few years in Orlando for sure.
yeah. Yeah, and it's just crazy too that it's crazy to think that the Dwight Howard led Magic, one of those Magic teams, made their way to the finals. They yeah,
Yeah.
you're just not going to see that too often anymore. A guy who's like, what was he? He was like 23 and 14 that season. He was a double-double machine, but I mean, he was like the best offensive player on that team. And
Like
well,
Shaq did the
you
same thing. Shaq did the same thing against the Rockets when he took them to the finals when Jordan was out, I believe.
I mean, as you kind of mentioned, I would give Shaq the edge on in terms of offensive talent. I feel like he's a more well-rounded player. It's that's just that style of play, and the fact that he's not a guy who's ever going to lead the league in scoring. To
No,
be able to come out of the East with one of the better teams of that decade, to come out of the East led behind Dwight Howard. I mean, they lost. Can you remember? I can't even remember off the top of my head. Who did they match up against in the finals? Who did they lose to? Was that
the
one of the
Magic.
Lakers years?
Oh,
Yeah.
them. They had. I
Or
don't
was it?
remember offhand.
I will tell you, it was either Lakers or Spurs, but I can't remember.
Yeah, no. Uh, The only other name that I wanted to highlight, just because you've got Chicago Bulls up behind you, is Billy Donovan, the second. In just his role, having won back-to-back titles in Florida, I think obviously that's the reason he's getting in, not for a mediocre Bulls team that has been decent as of late. What is your takeaway? What are your thoughts? At least maybe concise thoughts of just from what he's done in Chicago, whether you've liked it or hated it. I'm just kind of curious to get your thoughts on Billy Donovan.
I certainly don't hate what he's done in Chicago, especially with the paradigm shift of the offense this year. Where, and part of this is it's just like it's a copycat league, and so the Celtics are winning games by breaking the records for amount of 3-pointer shot in a game, season, stuff like that. But I mean the shift to the Bulls being a 3-point shooting team, I think it was something that was a bit overdue. I think in part, obviously, because they still had DeRozan on their team. So, but yeah, for them to play this year a faster paced offense, they're not a winning team currently, but they will upset some teams on any given night, just because if they're hitting shots, they're really tough to beat. They do have a lot of good offensive players on that team, none of which are all-stars. I mean, some who have sniffed all-star, Vucevic in particular, but who's been an all-star. But and then on top of it, with Buzelis, he's really been developing as a player. I mean, I know that he was seen as one of the higher draft prospects and then dropped on the board after being a part of the fizzled out G League Ignite experiment. But yeah, I mean, the fact that a guy who's this winning as a coach, and not just in the NBA but in the NCAA, who is willing to contribute his talents to this current rendition of the Bulls team moving forward. I don't think Chicago hates him being there. He doesn't really seem like one of those coaches that's going to be fired for a team that's underperforming. I don't really think the Bulls are underperforming, but they're not like a super winning team. I just don't see him being that the scapegoat coach, who gets fired as a result. Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, like his style.
Until tomorrow, we breaking news: Billy Donovan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's had quite a contribution to the league. It is kind of crazy. I guess I didn't know this about coaches, but I didn't realize you could be an active coach and still make it into the Hall. I find that kind of interesting.
Their Hall of Fame is a little bit different. I've just noticed, just because it is across like college, professional,
right,
high school, and obviously officials. So it's anybody that's related to basketball that has done good to the sport. To me, that sounds like is getting in.
So maybe it's just his NCAA that is actually getting him on the ballot in general.
That and longevity. I think body of work probably comes into it too. The fact that he's been NBA, NCAA coach, and I'm sure a high school coach, then you kind of hit the trifecta, and that probably is not a shoe-in, but a pretty good chance of getting you in if you go across all of those and win a championship somewhere in the midst of that too. So good on all of them. Round of applause to everybody. Congratulations on getting in. But yeah, I can let you get back. I guess the game is over, but we can let you go and watch some highlights. And
yes.
It's not the same. I know that. Any last thoughts? Any last comments here? We'll probably get maybe one podcast by the end of this week to get some last minute thoughts going into the play-in tournaments. But yeah, last thoughts for tonight.
So you're saying you didn't want to do 30 minutes on Danny Crawford real quick? That's fine. That's fine.
Well, you can do that as a separate piece and record that after I go to sleep, and you can post that all you'd like. But yes, do a hit piece on the amazing work that Danny Crawford has done as a referee on the court.
I don't know
not
that
even
anybody.
as off the court stuff.
I don't know that anybody should listen to that. If it does get popular, it would get popular in a way that like drinking out of cups YouTube sensation did. But yeah, and without LSD being involved at all. In fact,
Yeah. No drugs,
well, on
kids.
that note,
Stay off the drugs.
well, well, on that note, thanks for tuning into the Bucket Bros. Make sure that you like, subscribe. I feel like I need you to do this part. I don't even know what media options are out there. Just all of them, all the socials, all the places where you can do videos and podcasts. I think we're there. Come find us.
We're trying. Right now, we are focused on YouTube. We are making sure that our YouTube family is taken care of. We are posting quite a bit there. We will get better on, and we're posting on X. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're going to make a Facebook page at some point. But yeah, come find us. Come follow us. We're chatting about basketball. We hope you guys do too. We hope you enjoy it. And I can't believe we are almost through our first full season. It's kind of heartwarming. And it's like we're like 10 months into this. This has been pretty impressive that we've decided to save our wives and talk about basketball to each other versus mumbling it to ourselves and looking like crazy people. So yes, we appreciate everybody who's following along and enjoying us just chatting away. So thanks.
Well, we hope we inspire all you other basketball heads out there. Hey, with enough concentration, you too can talk at a level of a guy who watches about one game a night. Just keep dreaming big. Keep dreaming big out there.
All right, everybody. This is the Bucket Bros. We'll see you next time. Swish. Where's that ending recording?